All right, so right now we're gonna be talking about the key to effective workouts. So whether you're a trainer working out players or you're a player trying to work on your game by yourself, what is the key to effective workouts? Well, first things first is we're training to get better in a game. We're not training to get better in practice. So a lot of times we get stuck in trying to do the same things over and over again. We feel good in practice, but does it really translate, right? That's what everything's about. We need to work on stuff that gets us better in games, right? That's the end all be all. So we're gonna be talking about what we can do and how we can structure our practice to achieve that goal. So first things first, when it comes to translating these skills into a game, is ideally we're working out with other people. This is gonna be very, very tough to do if you're only working out on air. So if you can, find a partner, find group workouts and things like that. But I do understand you guys will not always have access to that. So we're going to relate back to training by yourselves and how we can enhance that. So the first thing is level of difficulty. The biggest thing with getting better at anything is you need to be challenged, right? You've heard it all the time, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't grow you. We need to be operating in an area where we're slightly challenged and pushed outside our comfort zone. That's how we learn anything. So going through the motions, whether we're doing a layup, we're just here, or we're just half speed getting into jump shots, right? We see NBA players do this a lot of times in workouts where they're just basically shooting around. And as high school and college players, if you want to get better, that's not gonna do it. We need to be challenged, and just simply going through the motions is not going to cut it. So if you can find people to work out with, you're automatically going to be challenged because you can't just go through the motions. If you do, you're gonna get stolen, you're gonna get it blocked, right? You're not gonna be able to just go through the motions, and it forces you to get outside that comfort zone. But again, if you're by yourself, you need to find things to get outside your comfort zone. And that does not just mean that was a hard workout. It means doing skills that you can't necessarily do yet, right? So for example, if I'm trying to get into a shot and I'm always sloppy with my footwork, that's a skill that you guys can work on, right? So we're working on a skill that's slightly challenging us mentally and not just physically. What we're gonna be talking about is specificity. Now this essentially just means that what we're doing is as specific to the game as possible. Now again, getting back to that original point, we're after that long-term learning that actually transfers over into games. And within skill acquisition, motor learning, they always talk about the more specific it is, the higher the transfer to our game. So we want to find ways to make our training as specific as possible. Now, how can we do that? Now, obviously, like I talked about, if you have a partner or someone to work out with groups, things like that, that's perfect because you can make it basically exactly like a game, real defense, real reads and things like that. Now, if you don't have somebody to work out with, it's obviously very tough to make it specific because you don't have those reads. You don't have somebody closing out on you. You don't have somebody contesting you at the rim. So we need to find ways to adjust our environment to make it a little bit more game realistic. So one way we can do that is, say we're working on a shooting drill, right? I'm gonna come over here, say I need to make 3 jump shots in a row. Boom, I do that. Now, to add a little bit of pressure, right? That's what's game specific. There's pressure in a game. We're coming to the free throw line. I'm gonna force myself to make that free throw. If I miss, have to redo the drill. So again, just slight tweak adds a little bit more pressure, makes it more game specific. Another one we can do to add a little bit of pressure, make it more game realistic and stretch ourselves outside of our comfort zone is adding something as simple as time. So again, shooting example, say I gotta make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in a row or just total. Now I can, instead of just doing that on air, going through the motions, just shooting, walking, getting my rebound, let's add time, again, adding pressure. So I have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe in 40 seconds. Now I'm full speed, pushing my comfort zone a little bit, making it more specific because we have time involved. And then now I complete the drill, good. Come to the free throw line, gotta make my free throw, right? Make it a little bit more game realistic. So the next one is random practice, all right? A game is not played in a block style where I get to shoot the same shot twice in a row, whether it's a 3-point shot, the same layup. I'm never gonna get it back to back, right? So we need to make our practice more random. Now, how can we do that? So instead of shooting 5 block practice shots, so 1, get the rebound, 2, 5 shots from there, I'm just gonna take 5 shots from 5 different spots. So I might shoot here 1, boom, get my rebound, sprint to the corner, shoot 1. Get my rebound, come up here. So again, small tweaks that we can make that just make our training more specific, which leads to higher transfer to our games. All right, so the next part that we're gonna be talking about is decision making. Now, this is one of the most important aspects of basketball. I talked about this in my post. Everything comes down to being able to read the situation, predict, and then do. So every time we're working on air, working by ourselves, we're just working on the do aspect of the skill. We're not working on the anticipation or reading the situation. So we need to be working on these decisions. The only way we can do that is by putting ourselves in positions where we actually have to make these decisions, which is small-sided games, working with partners, right? So if you have a group of guys, what are we working on? We want to work on off the catch stuff. Cool, so I'm just gonna set up over here. Someone's passing the ball, he's closing out. I have to make a read. Am I shooting it? Am I ripping left? Am I ripping right? Right, I'm working on making decisions. So if you're by yourself, you need to find people to work out with. You're not going to get better just by yourself. It's just not gonna happen. And when you're by yourself, this is where we can, like we talked about before, find different ways to make the training more specific. And then when we're with people, this is when we can train these decisions, right? It's just a well-balanced machine, and we need to make sure that we're touching on this aspect, because if we're not, very low chance that everything that we're working on is going to transfer into a game if we don't have that underlying decision that skill is used with. So next point is making sure our practice is purposeful. Now, what does that mean? Essentially just means that we're working on stuff that actually matters. Now, if I'm a big guy and I'm spending 30 minutes working on ball handling that I'm not gonna really use in a game, it's not really worth our time. So ensuring that we're picking apart our game, if we have game film, going back and watching it, picking apart certain parts that we need to work on, maybe it's finishing, and then tying in these components that we've already talked about, such as decision making, making our practice more random and specific, and making sure we're pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone as much as possible. So just really dialing in on what can we work on and what's going to have the largest effect for us come this next season, or whatever you guys are working towards, playing in college, playing pro, things like that. So just ensuring that we're working on the right stuff that actually gets us better and actually moves us in the right direction. So we're not just wasting our time and going through the motions, right? So take some of these tips, apply this if you're training by yourself. Make sure you're pushing yourselves with everything, right? We're getting slightly outside our comfort zone every time, and then we get a little bit comfortable, push that level again, always really operating on that edge of our ability, and then just making sure this practice is purposeful. So if you guys can tie all that together, you guys are gonna be doing the right type of things in practice and making sure you're utilizing your time as effectively as you possibly can to see the results you guys want in games. So appreciate you guys for watching. If this helped you guys, comment below. Can drop some more videos like this for you guys. But again, appreciate you guys. See you in another video soon. Peace. Cash.